wow, it's just too fucking good. So this guy, wow, it's seriously a serious guitarist. And so he really plays on stage and stuff. I think he's from Thailand. Unfucking believable, you know. Should be that good. But I could listen to that on a loop. That's unfucking believable. I mean, this guy, those chops, I mean, they actually added on to what Beck wrote, and it's just too tasty. So anyways, I'd rather just play music. And in fact, I'm waiting for the robots to come hunt me down and tell me that they're going to shut me down for copyrighted material. But I'm sure this guy has copyrighted this song. Then he does another Beck tune, which I have never heard. He plays on Strat. But yeah, so it's market's closing in a half an hour. This gold market, it's just melting down. But it's just ranging. More bad predictions from both sides because the market's just going nowhere. So who's cheering Bitcoin's demise? I must say, I can't wait for Bitcoin to go through the floor. I think everything's going to go down in the stock market. Look at the NASDAQ. Did you ever in your life? And then they said the news is good. I'm like, yeah, well, that's not good. Look at copper getting its ass kicked. So monthly copper deep discount. I don't know what you can make of these things happening, but oh, here's all my trend lines on monthly crude. I drew that on a video I did, and I never deleted it. So this is the classic thing where people sell into these channels, and then it just blows through the channel, and they're like, what the fuck just happened? And so we've all seen these fucking ridiculous attempts at projecting a ideal future. So yeah, the weather's, like I said, they can't predict the weather, and so it's all a big farce. It's all a big, yeah, the Bitcoin, I just think it's really one of these, and I'm bullish on everything, but I must say Bitcoin, I'd definitely be scared to buy it, even though it's the perfect setup. I mean, this is the old contradiction. So Bitcoin, I don't know if you can see because my blue doesn't show up good for me. The actual prices aren't showing up good. But, you know, if it takes out this floor here, and if it pokes through the wicks, actually, so I've got white wicks up, black wicks down, or black bars down. But yeah, if you take out this, of course you just poke through it, and everybody's going to come in there and buy it anyways for a scalp. But technically speaking, or like price-wise support speaking, if you take out the lows from last October, so you're coming up on the yearly anniversary of the launch pad too. So next month, you will be right at the launch pad that took whoever wrote it, straight up, nonstop, and it was kind of like people said, "Is it a bubble?" Dude, it was a bubble. I mean, that was the bubble. They were like, "It's a bubble," dude. It popped. Did you not see that? Like, who sees a market? Look at them. The monthly is a pure view of it, but there's no way in hell it can't come back to this starting gate, and ultimately gold would come back to 500, and this would come back to this starting gate of a measly $3,000 Bitcoin. Now, if you're long from 200, you think you're a genius, right? But no, I mean So Michael Norman, wow, this guy. Oh, so Michael Norman, I get what he's doing. What he's saying is that he's not trading on leverage, I'm assuming. In other words, he's not betting more than he can afford because it's insane, right? And he's like, oh, you think this is a doubt? Dude, this is why, and he's anti-system. Well, you got to have a system because you can't always be a fundamentalist. So he's an old floor trader and stuff, and so he's older than me, and he's definitely got a great floor trading stories, but it's not, then he thinks he's stumbled onto the magic formula that the fundamentals are going to do so-and-so. Plus, he's kind of like rooting for the socialist team. If you listen to him, he's a Marxist pragmatist. He's like, well, if they raise interest rates, the tariffs are good for it. It's all good. He's like, it's an all good stoner dude. And that's great. But, you know, it's just, you know, God knows. And he's charging some insane thing for his newsletter. And then when people bail, he goes, good for them, fuck them, which is kind of like, I guess I join him on the anger train because I'm a really angry person, I guess, in some regards. But, you know, I'm not in denial. So I have a punching bag, and I guess it's either my YouTube channel or it's, well, it can't be my dog because I kicked it to death, but, or I'll just put on that music, you know. So I watch this guy play guitar, and I'm like, oh my God, this motherfucker. I mean, some people are angry at that. I got to be honest with you, a lot of musicians I know, if they saw a guy like that and they've been struggling to play like that, they're like, that motherfucker. I don't really feel like that about it. I'm like, you know, I feel like, wow, look at this motherfucker go. I don't wish him any harm, but it's funny, people were wishing me harm on a swing trade I was in. But it's like, I guess it's because most of the guys are trading and they want to play that game, you know. Yeah, no, I mean, the thing is that you could have, like I said, if you have like a samurai approach, which is controversial, you get 10 accounts. You load them with $1,000 in each account. You got 10 grand at risk, and you just go along your merry way. And each account is its own stop. And you know, if you're half-assed, if you got even a slight amount of luck, you probably won't blow up all. You would do a different strategy and different currency pair on each one, hopefully. In other words, you're not going to gang, which is a common mistake. Just because you have separate accounts, you're going to treat them all alike, right? That you do the same thing if you had kids, right? Well, you have to treat every kid different. That was like I never had, well, I guess I had 3 kids or stepkids, but they were different ages, so mentally you could already figure. But what if they're all the same fucking age and they were all twins? Like if you had quadruplets, would you treat them the same? No, they still have their own. So I don't know if you can do a blanket approach to trading and say you're a trend trader, because you still have to dial in which time frame the trend's on. I don't know. I'd love to see people explain it. For all the people that criticize me, I never see anybody post a video going, well, here's what you're doing wrong here. Let me just show you. And they don't go through the checklist. So it'd be sweet to have that. Some type of, you know, counter, equal opportunity bashing. Show me your chart. Show me your counter channels and stuff like that. I know this guy in Britain. I don't know if he still watches. He comes and goes. This is Dodgy FX. So he had this thing up one day, hit counter channels, and I said, do you have a trade plan for that? He laughed. He goes, no. I go, okay. But he had it up there because that's what people have on the screen, the usual trappings. Oh, I got MACD at the bottom. A lot of people do a whole video with MACD at the bottom. You're like, why aren't you talking about the MACD? What the fuck? It's like having a tachometer on your car, and the girl's asking, like, so what's that, honey? How come that goes up and down and we're not moving? You know, just kind of like curious. I guess I'm too curious. Why? Like, what's going on here? And then people say I'm not using any indicators, but I'm using MACD or something. I don't know. I'm not, this is Forex Hangout, guys. I'm not using any indicators because Fibonacci is not an indicator. It's a discount. I did a video I haven't published yet about, I watched his trading strategy video. So I'm like, okay, you're a trend trader, you're a structured trader on a 5-minute chart, but you're not taking advantage of bar by bar trading. Okay, so you have this big wide scope using the 5-minute chart, but if you did that, if you use the 5-minute chart like that, there's a lot of subtle moves in there. I guess they're just too subtle to see, but market just drifts higher and just fails and just gets really quiet and then smashes. So earlier that happened to the dollar yen. It would drift down and smash up, or drift up and smash down, or it could just go up and down, or it could just go sideways forever and torture everybody, which I'm sure the Bitcoin is going to torture people. And they'll buy into this thing as it tanks, I'm sure. I would buy into it I would load my Bitcoin wallet I'd buy a little bit now. I would have to say that trade's going to be a losing trade, but I could say the fear of missing out would be somewhat cured, I think, of getting in Bitcoin here, you know. So yeah, I probably have to put that guitarist back on. I swear to God, I could watch it on fucking loop. Another thing with these people that are doing cover songs, oh my God, they're doing it in such high res. I'm like, holy shit, this is audiophile, beyond audiophile quality. It's better than the original Jeff Beck, even if you remastered it And I got the Mobile Fidelity gold-plated disc of Diamond Dust and Jeff Beck's song, Last Cut. It was last cut on vinyl, so it sounded like shit because by then the needle's just it's barely getting any coverage. The last tracks, those are for the band. So like the Fez is the last track on, what is it? The Rail Scam, Steely Dan. So all these people are dying. Burt Reynolds just died. So I shed a little tear this morning in my car. Of course, I've been watching Burt Reynolds with Dom DeLuise on Johnny Carson, all these reruns and stuff. And I don't know. I just saw Burt Reynolds on Letterman after he got smashed in the mouth, and he never said anything. And he was on the show, and he never said that he got hurt, but he was on a bunch of drugs, and he was really hurt because he was in a movie with Clint Eastwood at the time, and he got smashed in the mouth. And his jaw was never the same. That's when he really got all looped up. But just before he died, I think 2 years ago, he released his, last year, his Trans Am. Did a big thing down in Florida. He put on his Trans Am. Yeah, the fib thing. So, yeah, well, you know what, but, the fib thing would be, all you're saying if you're using a fib is you're saying you want to be not at the price you're at now. Really, all you're saying is that I prefer to wait till we get overextended into some extension. Or, in other words, you're saying that this price sucks here. The better price is at the fib. Or, that's my target. So that's where I think people are going to reverse. You think there's some, like the market can only stretch so far. So if Mother Nature can only stretch so far before it collapses, how far does a branch stem from a trunk of a tree before it snaps off? Whatever that number is, that coefficient, you're supposedly using that as your capitulation stretched into some proportion. That's the proportion, right? So it's weird, but I'm taking a lot of big risk here. I don't have any virus protection. I'm taking a serious risk here today. So don't anybody send me any viruses. Yeah, that's. I remember when I connected to the internet back when I thought I was going to save some money, so I hooked up this, instead of a router, hooked up a switch, and I didn't know the switch has no firewall, so I hooked it up and I had it running on a commercial line for like a week, and I called up the cable company. I said, how come I can only hook up 2 computers to my fucking thing here, my modem? They said, well, I don't know. They said, well, you only allowed 2 lines, 2 commercial internet lines. I said, well, okay. And apparently what I was doing was I ran out. After 2 computers, the third computer said, I don't see anything. You've already used it up. And that's what it dawned on me. I didn't have a router. I had a switch. And I thought because it was 1 in, 10 out, I thought, oh, fuck that router shit. Real clever. But, everybody has that brainstorm, and they go, I wonder if I do this trade. But, sometimes it does work out, and it did work out, but I was naked, literally on the internet, just sitting there. This is before the Russians started coming in and trying to monkey with monkey with the elections. That's what they should have, a composite, inappropriate, politically incorrect sentences. And so they took Alex Jones off of Twitter. Wow. Alex Jones. I mean, if you thought the earth was flat, how about the flat earthers? When they're going to pull them off Twitter? When's that coming, right? I'm sorry, 38.2. Can't you do a little pi on that and carry it out? Surely there must be another decimal point on that. I mean, if the real Fibonacci is deep within the, what do they call it? The quantum detachment depth of multiple interwoven fractals, right? It's the, it just goes on, right? It's like 2 mirrors together. You ever do that when you were a kid? When I was a kid, I was in the closet there, and I had a mirror, and I had another mirror, and I'm like, holy shit. It's like feedback. So I wonder if I could get the mirror in there and watch it echo down there. I go, I don't think the speed of light's going to let me watch it echo through all those reverberations. That was definitely fun. I thought we got to get curved mirrors. My immediate thought was, need a curved mirror for this, because I couldn't seem to get my head into the shot to look down the echo chamber. So that definitely, one has to be a cup, I think. One needs to be flat, one needs to be So what do you think of? Anybody here into the Bitcoin, get sucked into Bitcoin yet? I'm sucked into it just from them destroying my my transaction systems. And they took out JAFX, went down in a lightning ball of flames. And you see what happened to the offshore broker out of St. Vincent out of the Grenadines called JAFX. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, do you do the Litecoin thing? So here's the big discrimination. Supposedly not the Litecoin, but the other one, the Ether coin or something. The one that has contracts connected to it. So my buddy's he's a geek, and he says to me, "Oh yeah, it's got contracts." I'm like, whatever. So does the grocery store. They got coupons. I don't know. It's not Litecoin. It's Ether coin or some shit. Yeah, the ESMA rules. That's hilarious. Yeah, you just have to. It's so funny. So all the Europeans, when I thought, well, I'll just go to Europe, right? I'll escape this communist country. And I thought, man, no, they got communism down over there. Like they're just bringing it back. It's on tour again. It's the reunion tour. Oh, you thought they were done over there? Yeah, because if you're gonna Brexit, you know what they're gonna do is they're gonna throw in the kit. They're gonna throw everything in that they can at the end of the party, right? They'll try to lock themselves in there, but you got to wonder. I think it's just like here in the States, the Frank Dodd thing or the Dodd-Frank thing. I can never remember which way that goes. It's really about the floor traders losing money. It's about the seats on the exchange that cost $1 million. People are like, dude, what's going on? Like, we got to get. And then when they outlawed gold and silver trading in the United States in July, like 4 years ago, it wasn't about. They claimed it was about supporting the dollar, but it was really about trying to get COMEX to not get full crushed, right? So the government protects the exchange. And when Bitcoin was authorized at the CME to trade, it was like, see you, bye. I mean, that was the end of. That's when basically the volatility dried up, and it's just come back to this malaise. And really, this is the 50% retracement, I suppose, or maybe this could be the 62. I don't know. You could also make that claim, right? But would you bet the ranch on one entry here if this was actually the I don't think I have a fib tool here calibrated. Here you go. Here's your Fibonacci. So here's the excuse to get in here. If you say, and if you look at Tony Plummer's book, I always talk about Tony Plummer because he's going to 4. If you really want to trade Fibonacci, you should go to 423.6, which is this huge extension past that. And you could say, look at this. It went to I started down here, and look how it captured this, and this is the half wave, and this is support, and blah, 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 right? Let me get rid of my other shit. Wait a second, please hold on. Fuck. Here, let me go. I'll put a. So here's the argument for Fibonacci. And of course, it doesn't help us at this moment because we've missed all these fucking entries, right? All the beauties, like she's already knocked up. She's pregnant. You want to go on a date with her? Okay, wait. So if I take this down to here, right? So I've started down here at 0. Well, I don't know. We're down at like, I don't know, $200 a Bitcoin down here. I said, well, you look at that. But see, it doesn't do anything good now because we missed and what were we supposed to sell here or buy here? Okay, this big pivot and then cash out here. No, it kind of overshot and didn't make it to 100. So it looks golden at first, like the golden ratio looks golden, but then and it's not like I haven't done it. I mean, I've spent probably 3 years looking at Fibonacci. I go, no, not going to do it. Actually, when I started out, I thought, well, yeah, no, maybe there's something to this. Maybe there's something to this. And then I thought, no, I don't think so. I think it's just another version of the Bible trying to explain reality. How many Bibles are there? Well, if you go in the hotel room, there's just one. Is that the final distillation of truth? That one that's in the hotel room? Is that more better? Oh, really? Is it down to like $50? Because I was thinking about buying that because I could get my brain around $50. I'm sure it's in here. I think that Evolved Markets is like the only thing left. Wait, this Bitcoin balance, but then you got to adjust your brain to it. Australian CAD. Look at this thing. Oh my Lord. What the hell's going on here? Wow, look at this meltdown. I think this is one that some guy was badgering me about. He was long. I thought, well, yeah, as long as you get out at the prescribed exit. Look at that. That's a buy right now for a scalp. Oh my God. Look at this thing. New. Australia CAD is deep discounted, would you say? The question is it going to keep melting down? Sure, why not? It could fill this giant hole here. I'm sure people would trade this. I don't even look at this fucking thing because the spread sucks. Look at the spread. It's fucking 3 pips plus commission. Look at that thing, man. It could be tragic for this currency. But yeah, I got copper. Yeah, but yeah, those people, I don't know. You know, the only reason I got really angry at Empower Trading because I thought, well, here's these people. They have an opportunity. They're charging people $5 fucking grand. They're not telling them that they've got to do something that they're not going to want to do, and they better get used to it. You know, I mean, that Gartley stuff just attracts people, I think. You know, it looks so, I think it's like a wedding dress. You know, it's so symmetrical. I don't know. Anyways, so yeah, the market's gonna close here in 12 minutes. So should I sell this pound New Zealand right now? Spread's even worse than the other currency. This is probably most brutal spreads, but this is a big mover. That is going to move a lot of pips, so that's the excuse for trading it. It's not good for scalping, but this will move a tremendous amount of pips. You just have to add that. Like, so for scalpers, it's untouchable. I guess not if you're trying to make 15 pips, right? Because you're gonna lose 5 with the commissions and the or whatever slippage. Probably really bad slippage there, or delayed fill. Like, she pulled the trigger psychologically, you know, it's kind of tough if you trade big. Okay, now you're down 4.5 pips if you pull the trigger right now. Whether you buy or sell, and that's kind of a tough thing to lock in that loss. So if you're really going to scalp it, I would say you're going to trade pretty fat on the euro, really big positions, and be in a short period of time. But if you're going to trade this thing, you could look at the weekly chart and go, oh yeah, okay, I'm going to buy here and let this thing keep going up. And that's the 100 pip grid. So, oh yeah, I mean, you can't even see them. They're so locked together here. You got to fix the scale and stretch that out. But yeah, it's 100 pips. So yeah, it could go up another 500 pips. And the sellers will coming into this window here. So this is the obvious place. Every 100 pips you're going to sell. Every 50 pips, I put a sell limit in right now for next week. And just, I put about 50K in there. And 20K is going to be scalps. And you're still going to have to wait. You have to wait to get filled if you even fill it. And right now it's in a trap because it's in this one here. So people have already sold. And there are already people that are willing to sell till this high. They're already short and they're up. All right, they're up on some of these tickets. Not on all, because if they sold this very first new high right here, so this is the new high to me. So that is I guess a lower high for the way that some people talk about it. So I just talked about it in the last video I haven't published, but talking about how people describe a higher high. A higher high to me. In other words, I would sell this new high, I call it. I don't call it a higher high, I call it a new high, like a historical high, because, well, not the ultimate history, but it's poking into this one. So that's the big deal of it all. Let me see. Try to mark that off a little cleaner. So as soon as it popped above that, and as soon as it popped above this one, which was the other rooftop, you're above that right now. So had you sold this, and been willing to sell all the way up to this, maybe, you have to pick a cutoff point for your sell limits. And then you would, so you're on the weekly. Now you go to the 4-hour chart. After you fix the scale like this, so this is how you do like forensics on this to see how this would have turned out. This is our RSI down here, 3 period. And so here you go. Okay, let's go to 4 hour and see how that turned out. What that look like? Okay, well, you can see that you made money, right? On the 1 hour, you can see it. Now, if you were looking at the monthly when it happens, you'd probably shit your pants because you're like, oh my God, is it going to take out the high of the year? So this would be your thought if you were short really big, even if you were scaled in short big, your thought would be, oh my God, Becky. This is the funniest thing if you get a chance to listen to Dick Cheese. But if you sold it the 100 even, like an idiot, but this whole window here, and if some of these were scalps, then you could have definitely cashed out into, well, new lows 1 bar back. That's different than new lows of this one. So these are completely different situations. This low is completely different than it as it's cutting down in. And if you're a Super Bowl, you're so bullish, you know, you're going to buy every stop hunt, so to speak. If this is money management's coming in underneath this, trying to pick up the rear and protect your profits. If it's running really tight, it'll be automatically triggered here, and that's going to cause it to drift down a little bit. So this piece, this new one, you're buying this, but no fill here, so your only chance was to buy that. Now, here's a mini stop hunt, or this is like the ultimate kind of just nick your super tight money management thing. So if you got a right there and they just popped you out because your stop is placed on that bid. And of course it's a 1 hour chart, but you can see that if you would have sold, if you had a scalp built in, now if you didn't have a scalp built in and you didn't take these 20 pips or 50 pips, you're screwed. Because it's spread 6 plus spread plus commissions now. They've got you, and they you really didn't. If you stick with your Michael Norman thing, you're going to be fucked. If you don't, you know, if you can't afford that move, like it's just ridiculous, you know. Another thing is people join up with these people thinking, well, I'm all in it. This guy's, look how he was right. So he'll go on there and go, see, I told you I was right. And this will be 3 years later. Look, I told you I was right. Yeah, sure, now after the fucking thing went through a goddamn swing, right? Oh, my God. Oh, my God, Becky. Let me see if I can trigger the robots. They'll ban me in 5 countries. Oh. I need a little humor. So yeah, it's really, I don't know, my thing disconnected. My baby got back. Well, they shut me down over this.
Oh my God, Becky.
That's what I want to hear. Oh my God, Becky. If you do it in segments, the robot will not be upset. So you play to the robots now. So, yeah. So I guess the question always is, did anybody make any money this week? But it's not about that, right? Because it's just about the fun of trading, I suppose. You got to like what you do. I mean, there's a lot of mistakes are made and a lot of things crash. Even hard drives blow out, so I don't think you could win every trade. I mean, I think you're pretty much guaranteed to be in a loss any trade you get into unless you have zero commissions and zero spread and the market immediately goes in your favor, which some guy claimed. Oh yeah, it's like I never had a drawdown. I'm like, wow, man, that's incredible. Never? So I don't know. Looks like I lost my connection here. Refresh the screen. I'll play increments of Dick Cheese. Yeah. Yeah, you just have to be on a diet if you're going to trade that EMS stuff. It's like being on a severe diet. Oh, man. Come on, Dick.
Oh my God, Becky. Look at her butt.
Jesus, that's just... That's a real song. It's a cover song. Dick Cheese. I'm sorry, Richard Cheese. So now what? What's the what should we do now? Is there any good trades out there we're missing out on? See any 618 out there? Is there any? Are you a 382 guy or a 618 guy? I should probably yeah, another thing with the Fibonacci thing, every time I put it on the screen, I'm thinking, is it upside down? And then some guy goes, you are so using that wrong. And I thought, you mean there's only one way to use it? And if that was true, then surely you could get a robot to know the right way. So if there's only one way to use Fibonacci, you should be able to explain that to a robot. Well, here's what you do. You look back here to the lowest low, and then you say, well, how many days? Well, okay, that's the problem. Like, do we frame it here, or do we go back to the beginning of time? And, you know, which segment of the data? And then I love it when people say, well, it doesn't work all the time. Well, then why? It doesn't work all the time. Say what, we got 1 minute left here of the 15 seconds. So I was in a big trade, and I went to get out, and I started to unravel the position right now, and it was, I didn't get out of everything. I don't know if you ever had that. You're like, oh my God, like right to the last minute here, especially on the, look at this Euro tank. This very last minute of trading. Look at this, right on the edge here. Is anybody going long the Euro into the, I've done this trade a million times. I go long into the weekend. I'm like, look at this thing. When we come into Sunday night, all it has to do is tip this and we're fucked. Right here, all we have to do is tip this wick, which would be the low of the day. And that means that we are this close to taking out the low from 2 days back and the low from, and so when this thing goes domino, there'll still be some nice dead cat bounces in here, but just look at how brutal, right? And then if it takes that out, could it take out this low? And of course, you never, now if you're short this thing, you're like, oh yeah, let's start going after this, and then you'd have to be taking profits. Like, and then there's this low. So next week, or are we just going to dip into this consolidate and then rip back the other way and run out of sellers. And that's all that's moving the market is you run out of sellers, you run out of buyers. I mean, it's really stupid, isn't it? Oh, yeah. No, I bought the book, Robert Fisher. $50 for 50 pages, like 49 pages for $55. Dude, I've bought about $10,000 of Wiley & Sons. Wiley & Sons are laughing all the way to the bank. Well, you know what? It's fascinating. Yeah, in fact, in the back of the Robert Fisher book, he shows you how to build a logarithmic spiral compass. I'm not kidding you. I am not kidding.
It is so big. I like big butts and I cannot lie. You other brothers can't deny that when a girl walks in with an itty bitty waist and a round thing in your face, you get sprung. Wanna pull up tough cars.
Well, that's just so inappropriate. I don't know if I can tolerate that. I have to leave this chat. So yeah, yeah, I'll tell you what. And then how about this? And it's not like I didn't try it. You take time Fibonacci, you take price Fibonacci, which just kind of gives you the spiral, the logarithmic spiral, right? You throw in a little bit of, it's like when you overseason food, right? So you put a little bit of stochastics on that. And I remember the Forex Hangout guy used to use stochastics and stuff. It's cute. I get that you have a tachometer in your car, but I think it's hooked to somebody else's car. These are just so incoherent things to base a trade on. I guess you kind of want to feel like you've got some kind of gauges running. How about Forex Dashboard? Anybody try that? So I had Forex Dashboard running. I thought, okay, I like this. I like it. And I thought, I'm not sure. Should I hit the brakes or should I hit the throttle? And so I took my Forex dashboard and I dialed it in so that it was like a 2-period moving average. So I wanted to see the colors flash. And like if it was sitting there saying no trading today, that wouldn't work for me. So I was like, I don't think I want to be like waiting. Oh, wait, did you look at the dashboard? I checked it 3 days ago. It said, nope, just wait. So I thought, well, I see the 5-minute chart. Looks like people are trading that. I see all this fun on the 5-minute chart. Well, no, sorry, we just waiting for the dashboard to. And then the MACD is set at 26, 12, 9. Why? Like, I mean, when I first looked at that, and somebody explained it to me, well, you don't understand, man. Those are cycle lengths. And why is RSI at 14? Well, it's half of a month, 28 days in a month, it just supposedly, right? So this stuff is derived in cycle for the starting point. Yeah, all the books, amazing. It's just I could talk for 3 hours. Every book I read, everything I saw, and I'm like, oh, I like this idea. Yeah, my favorite book is the Eng book, E-N-G. Some Japanese trader. The book's 399 pages. It weighs about 3 pounds, which is a lot. And it's really, really dense paper that's really thin. So it don't look like it's that big, but you got to pick it up and you're like, shit. And inside there he has, so he took Fibonacci and he created a moving average, multiple moving averages from 1 to 144, the Fibonacci sequence, right? So you have the 13, 21, 34, 55, 89. And I thought, well, that's the answer, because you're hitting all the, and I think they were exponential moving averages. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the EMAs, they're supposed to be the best, but I thought the linear weighted is much better. It's much more like it's weighted, so it's kind of hugging the price, where the EMAs are kind of staticky and they don't look smooth. Better a simple moving average than even a exponential. But everybody's like, nope, 20 EMA, nope, that's what the bankers use. I'm like, God, really? And they're all jumping on the wagon at that. Well, every banker's like, they're all sitting in front of their screens hitting the button at the same time because it's 20 EMA. Did anybody believe that shit? My God. And, you know, I don't know. It's just, for God's sakes, man, I don't know. But yeah, so you come across the YouTube and you see all those people doing all that stuff, and you're like, oh Jesus Christ. But,
You notice that butt was stuffed. My homeboys try to warn me, but that butt you got makes me so horny. 'Cause I'm long and I'm strong, and I'm down to get the friction on. So fellas, has your girlfriend got the butt? Tell her to shake it, shake it, shake that healthy butt.
oh my, oh Becky. So, what's the story, man? Where's the Fibonacci bot? Where's the Fib bot? How about those EU people? Oh man. Did you run to have you run to St. Vincent yet? Have you run to the Dominican Republic, where you can buy a financial passport for 30 grand? It's the only place left. Why does the Dominican Republic get this break? I haven't dug into the conspiracy behind that. In Panama, I used to have a broker out of Panama, and then they finally, Forex Metal, or Metal Forex, then they finally crushed, told me I had to leave. And then we had 1,001 leverage there. And they would, if your account was underwater, if you blew up your account, they'd zero it out for you. You know, if you came into the weekend underwater, which I did many times, and they would say, okay, you're good. Like the worst that came in was $260 underwater, 263 market cap owned against me. Yeah, like, we got that trade for you. But that broker actually let you put in about, it was amazing. You could put about, I'm going to say 10,000 tickets in there at 1,001 leverage. And so what they would do is, if your account got to, so it's not like people mistake, because I've been at 20 brokers, and I've looked at 100, and each one has their own scheme. So some guys will tell you, you have to start with 201 leverage. But if your account makes it to 5,000 or 1,000, we'll let you trade at 500 to 1 leverage. And some brokers say just the opposite. So if you trade at one of these 1,000 or 3,001 brokers, they will, once your balance goes above like 1,000 or 10 grand, they'll say, okay, we're going to cut your leverage down. They don't want you to blow up the account now. And actually, they don't want you to blow them up in a way, because what if there's a lag? They have to honor that stuff. So when their servers die from their liquidity feed, they're at risk, right? So they're just like you. If they're really true retail people, they're just another person along the stream of liquidity, really, of how fast can they offset that trade. And, you know, like, so one guy told me that if you trade too good, if you trade too well, they'll kick you out. Yes, because that's why you need multiple brokers, because then they have to get rid of your trades and they have to offset them. And the people they go to are going to go, wait a minute, you're winning too much. In other words, you're bringing us too many bad prices. If we're going to take the other side of that trade, that's a bad price for us. So, but that wouldn't really matter too much to somebody who's just, you know, they've got money, they're making enough. If you're trying to make a really big money, I guess you would start to, people don't want to do business with you. It's like laundering money. You know, they don't want your business. Because you could take down the whole brokerage firm. Like if you went in there and you just loaded your account up, and then you just, all of a sudden, you know, there's a chance that you could hurt them. So, plus, I think you can't be a politician to trade there. They always say, oh, you're a politician or something. But, yeah, so I don't know. But it's a lot of fun. Now it seems like the contest is not just trading. It's like, where do you trade? And how you get your money into these accounts. My God. I used to have to go through Canada. It cost me 15% to get my money into a Forex account 7 years ago. It got me 10% through Canada. and then another like 5% maybe something, and some other transfer thing, and then finally into the account. But that, of course, use either that or wire it, which costs more money. It's like $50. And but yeah, Ryan Brown hasn't published any of his stuff. I was kind of curious to see his. I reached out to him. I actually commented on his thing, but he didn't say anything. But he's got a hot wife. He doesn't need to trade. Like, I mean, most people would think, oh, I'll trade and then I'll get a hot wife. But if you got a hot wife, why don't you just stop trading? So if you're trading, it means your wife's ugly. No, not necessarily. You know, I don't know. I guess they can coexist, right? It doesn't have to be an all or nothing situation. But holy shit, man. I've got to go watch this guy play guitar again. He got 2 takes on that. He's got a guy playing real drums on this. So here's the second take of that same song. Or maybe he added this guy. Maybe this is actually a second take. He had somebody embellish the drums on that. He did a fine job. This is the full. Yeah. Well. So what's the story? What's the end of the year look like for the Trump administration? Is the euro back to the starting gate? So if you just go to the line chart, all the way back to here. Actually, if you do Fibonacci, I say the line chart's the ultimate way to go. Because if it works, it should work on the line chart. I get to change the color scheme though. Oof. I go blue. Big blue. So I like the fib on the line chart. It's exquisite if you believe in fibs. So here you'd start off and set your 100% here. Doesn't quite call out that. Tony Plummer, amazing though. Tony Plummer's book, endorsed by Alexander Elder, and I had the videotape with Alexander Elder and him speaking. And at that point I was sold. I was like, oh no, this is as good as Logarithmic Spiral guy. Robert Fisher. I cannot get that to highlight. You son of a bitch. Sometimes you can't reselect the tool. Okay, so I get this, but you know, like I said, it's a wrist tool. Yeah, okay. Now we start off here. And where's our first leg? If we use a strict value of the first leg down, okay, still doesn't call out the bottom of that market. So as you move this to each, if Fibonacci really works, it should work on this one down leg. And here you bring it to this leg. Right, I think if I can get this centerpiece over here. So if this is 0, and as it walks down from here, the next price pulse down would be here. This whole leg, without going up though. And there's the rub, because what if the market goes up and down? But see, it overshot the runway there. So it looks exquisite for a little bit. What if you picked that as your 100%? Okay, now you're going to say, well, look at the 1618 works perfectly, and I took that class from fucking Empowered Trading. Look at this thing retesting that. But it still doesn't tell you what to do about it. Do I buy here? And in other words, I'm sure it wicked into that. Oh, yeah. So it wicked into it. I could have bought here, but then I could have bought again. Was I supposed to buy 3? And if I moved my stop to protect this buy, then I got stopped out. And then it finally went my way, and yeah, that 618 worked, but geez, oh Pete's. And this bottom became a top, but not on the line chart, it overshot. Well, you could give it some wiggle room. So you actually have to do that. And it's not a black and white world. You actually have to sell this too also, I think. Because how could you just limit it to fire brick in there? So that's a big sell there. And then so now what about if you mark off every previous support, those should serve as resistance now. So you have this one, every one of these built from this stairway up. So I've done this, many videos on this. And this is just a reason to put orders in there. But these do are, if you mark off every one of these peaks and valleys, you will create a cluster in here. But you have to keep track of what you did by really using a line, which is not always straight. You have to start off with a straight line. So like jigsaw, you'd have to stack them up to the right of you. Where is my trend line here, because you'd have to truncate this. Or have this extend to the right. And then, okay. Let's make this one super big blue. I'll just make it giant. And then turn on extend into the future. And then we'll go to the right only. And then, see, it's kind of a bitch because you'd have to get this completely flat. I think it's easier to flatten it back here. So now you'd have to take this and use this as your, why that's going to be resistance coming back, because last known support on the way down. So once it started to shear off these, now if you look at this as a structure, and this is your, you could even do 2 here because you have like a doji. When they shear into that, when the price shears through that, supports, it just blows it out, you know. You could even mark off this top. So so the top pull back a little bit is really a doji there. So you can see this top became a bottom, and so that's a big deal. So if it doesn't hold that, and when it starts to crush through that, it is true that a trend line break is the thing to trade, but it sometimes it'll break and on closing prices and come back and retest. And so if you put the trend line in here, now you're building this support structures into the future of everything can happen horizontally priced, and also can happen as the market starts to drift and you start to lose volatility because it's coming into a triangle. So do triangles work? Of course, but you still have to trade them. You still have to put the orders in there. Now, whether they're confirmation orders and you get in late, let's see here, even here you got in, right? Like you wanted to make sure that that thing was not, in fact, you had to chase it. This is a monthly chart. This wouldn't matter if it's a 1-minute chart. Now, if it's a 1-minute chart, you got to have, you are hopefully selling into this thing. And right, and look at this wick top here, these double wicks. It probes through this this shaved candle, this rooftop. This closed up hard, never went higher the next month. Monthly charts, pretty big example of smoothed out data. And it doesn't mean that it's some holy grail here. Even these dojis here were only good for a few pips. These last 2 dojis on the chart, so nothing works all the time. That's why you need more than one approach. So here you have open to close, and you've also got this where you never got filled if you're placing, and I can't imagine doing this, but trust me, it works on the monthly. A buy stop here. I mean, like, really? I mean, if you looked at it on the 4-hour chart, you'd be like, why don't you just get in here? So this is the next thing that would occur to you on the 4-hour chart. As soon as you go to the 4-hour chart, you're like, oh boy, we should have sold up here. What'd you do? But on the monthly, you're like, kind of like this on the long side. So 1-hour chart's like, holy shit, this doji here, dude. If your robot was only triggered by ultra tight dojis on the 1-hour, that robot, this is a Eurodollar, you can only imagine how much money you'd make, even if you lost a leg of this thing. Presupposing you have expansion, you're looking to risk 1 to make 8, 1 to make 10. 1 to make 5, 1 to make 6. You have to put that ticket in. And does it work? Yes. But it doesn't work all the time. And that's why it's by the time the market gets down here, maybe you're not even in anymore. So the burst ratio out of the gate here has to, if that's your first risk box, right? If just stupid ass, everybody's read a textbook about a doji or gravestone, and so it's paying off finally after it beat the shit out of you over, say here, because of this setup, right? 2 hours of sideways. Actually, this one was a winner because you only filled on the south side. Well, you a little trap on the north side, but you're trading 20K on each side. 40K in total risk. So that'd be a number that you could live with. They're all single tickets. You press a button and they last for 15 minutes. So imagine you could launch these on a tablet and you just look at your tablet and you go, okay, I'm going to just hit this button because the market's going sideways. The only problem is if you start to really believe in a direction too much, maybe, and you would not even consider, you'd be like, oh no, this is definitely, and then the market trounces you, and you get that where it reverses. Now here it never took out the, they never really trapped people on this one. I noticed we didn't go up here, didn't even make it to this thing. So here, the only people that won this kind of approach are the people that started selling into this pool of about 20-hour pool on the north, right up here. So this was the big deal. This to, there's a double top here. So I'm just counting actual bar by bar. So I think that's the only way you can do it, because this is where people had the lowest risk. Anybody that got filled at the wick top, and very difficult to take that trade if you're watching this happen. And don't forget, this was a trouncing. My candles don't show up very good. Of stopping the guy that has a stop here and the guy that has a stop here. They got trounced just by a sliver. I'm got to zoom in on this. Okay, here we go. So I can't see these wicks too well, but that's one flaw of MetaTrader, skinny wicks. Never made it to here though. I think it just, well, yeah, actually it took it out that low. So you would have gotten filled here had you been able to buy the bid. But that's where they trounce people, and right there. So that's definitely anything from below the close line. So if you go to closing prices and you draw a horizontal line, and you'll see exactly how the candles are sitting on there, the bodies are sitting on these two pieces. So this is a serious pivot. And all, you could just quarter that off there. Like I said, ideally you want to take, and this is more work, but you take this and you mark off why that's that. All right, so why is the price now important? So you are trading the back of the chart, really. Like this, so you mark off all that. So that's going to be a big deal. And those are higher lows, according to the swing traders' count of higher low. But when you turn on the candles, you're like, holy shit. Like, it's, I mean, your brain just come unwrapped. This looks clean, and then the bars looks like, what the fuck? I mean, so to me, even though we can't see the ultimate risk here, if you run a closed chart, which looks just like RSI, and RSI works perfect with this. So if I put RSI on this, it would explain our momentum, how to momentum trade this. And also you can just see all the tops become bottoms and bottoms become tops. It's a 1 hour chart. Monthly chart, well, look at this thing smashed down. Look at this thing cut through that price, for God's sakes, man. These are vicious markets. Look at the 1 hour meltdown of the euro from that one little doji. Holy fuck me. And if you would have rode half the position to that climax point, and what would you base the exit on? You're actually not out if you're the kind of guy that puts his order right here at the next known edge, which would be here, and you're still holding. But I would have to say, once get below this close, this pivot. So this is why, and I've done a bunch of videos in the past about this stuff. If you think that's a So open to close, that's a pretty small body. If you carry that forward, that's typically the and this is also the pullback. This is the bottom. This is a pullback. So an Elliott wave, that's got to be wave 3. If you only counted 1, 2, 3 in Elliott wave, forget 4 and 5. If you're just doing the go to the hotel version of the relationship, you don't do the whole. Okay, so yeah, I haven't been watching the comments here, so I was listening to Richard Cheese. I wanted him to finish off this tune.
Baby got back. Baby got back. Baby got back. Baby got back. Mercedes, then turn around, stick it out. Even white boys gotta shout. Baby got back. Baby got back. Baby got back. Baby.
I'm so sorry you had to hear that. I just couldn't resist. Anyways. You get bored sometimes, I suppose. Have some entertainment. Oh, yeah. So, what's next on the agenda? Anybody going to trade the guppy next week? Are you hanging in there till it takes out the high from last week? How about this guppy? Look at that spike. For the love of Pete. And that's the dumbest trade I've ever seen. It's over. So that's one of those trades where I've never seen this much drama in a while. Look at this. My God, man. What the hell's going on there? The guppy. The guppy gives hard. Well, they didn't shut down my channel for playing music. Jeez. This sounds a little harsh. Let's bear with this. This kid's about 12 years. This kid's like 16 years old playing guitar. I can't imagine these kids have copyrighted this shit. School of Rock. But this chick is so emotional on this track. Gotta love that 60 cycle hum in there. Kid's amp was, he's running single coil pickups on that. School Rock. School Rock kids, man. That's amazing. Better than Guitar Hero. Guitar Hero should be banned. Another thing EU should be jumping on. Cut back that leverage and ban that fucking Guitar Hero shit. If I see another one of those, and there's the Beatles Guitar Hero, I'm like, you know what? That'll be enough out of you. That'll just be enough of that. Yeah, I'm looking for the same girl does Zeppelin. Oh, jeez. Because I don't think there's any copyright restrictions on this stuff. People can't touch it. I'm spoiled, but this audio is better than any CD, better than the original recording. So as cheesy as you may think that is, I'm just astounded. I gotta watch more. insane. So, anybody trading Bitcoin this weekend? It's a pretty tight spread here. I'm pretty amazed. Oof, what was that? That was wicked. Huh? Let's go. 5 minutes. 4 minutes left before the top of the hour. Holy shit. Here comes them robots again. Damn tootin'. Look at this shit. Look at this 6 p.m. on a Friday. Bitcoin 1 minute chart. Apparently, this is a trade. I got to write a script for it. You have to add 2 zeros to all the scripts to trade the Bitcoin. So you could have a market order, and I don't know how much money that is right there, that move. I guess you have to trade pretty big. But the problem is that I think there's 50-to-1 leverage on Bitcoin. So you're better off taking your Bitcoins and going trade Forex, I suppose, even though maybe that's why the spread's so tight, because there's no leverage in it. So it's either one or the other. If the spread's wide, so I used to trade penny stocks when I was a kid, and I thought, man, this is talk about a bad spread. Talk about slippage and a bad fill, right? You would never be able to get the price that I would just trade at the market. Can you imagine how retarded that was? But I was really a plunger, plungers, they say. And look at this. Every minute I'd be buying this Bitcoin right now. So I would have bought, I'd be starting to buy here at this hole, this vacuum right here. So as we plunge into this, knowing only this, I know what I'd be doing. I'd have buy limits strewn down there for I don't know how much is in the account. Then that should be the problem. So if you're trying to build an account with that kind of approach, you better be careful that you don't have, if we max zoom out on the 1 minute chart. So we're actually filled already off of that, this swing low on a zoomed, max zoom in MT4. And then here's your max zoom out. It looks like, that's a great place. In fact, you should have sold up here. What were you thinking? So as soon as you go to this, you're going to say, what was I thinking? Why didn't I sell this chunk here? Right, this. I don't have sell limits in there. I should be short right now. And already cashed out into your exit would have been obviously the last known high right there. So you take that chunk out. And now you're looking for a deep discount. I'm sure that you can make an argument on the 1 minute chart for a 618 down there. Or even a 50% or a 1618. So you go that Tony Plummer thing he's getting in down in Disneyland down here. But isn't everybody getting in? This is the top inside the bottom. This is the little baby first glimpse of a good relationship there for the bulls, and then, but that's always happening, this final crush like this one comes back, trounces this little mini vac, and then you're off to the races. But to trade the same style here, you need wider tickets to capture the crush back into this one. So it goes from crush to crush. And I'm sure somebody is cashing out of something right here on this every minute. I'm sure every minute some guy's winning and some guy's losing, or some guy's in a loss. And of course, in this Bitcoin thing, this is constantly expanding, and you could probably just trade this all weekend. I mean, I don't think that leverage is, you're not going to, according to the nanny state, this is your best recipe. Especially now that Bitcoin has calmed down, you could probably trade larger. And maybe that's why the spread's tighter. I don't remember this spread being this tight. I don't know what, maybe because of the markets died down. Maybe the spreads were wide because it was like, they just went wide. So there was a problem right there. So staring at the spread is real key because it's telling you if there's volume in the market also. So you don't need volume. If you watch the spread And if you put a tick chart, so if I turn off every symbol in here, I could run a tick chart of Bitcoin. So you'd have tick chart and a 1 minute chart. So you have tick chart, which is blow by blow, and the 1 minute chart is your slower time frame, or your least counting out time frame. And that's going to be the and of course you have the just gobs of structure on this 1 minute chart. But you have to, I'd say, still go flat. I don't think you could hold. It doesn't make sense to hold some of these trades because they're so wonderful. And I mean, ratio-wise for your spread there. Like if you can barely see the spread on a 1 minute chart, that's pretty good. And I don't know, maybe the commissions are really high, but even if they are, I'd rather look at this chart. So yeah, ECN, gold account, you know, you have under half a pip, a total probably. You could trade, and no slippage, but yeah, just having an instant execution is the key. So you could do the 9Ks, 9 1Ks, and it makes sense because then the market takes a burst and you just cashed out. So on that burst, and you're still holding a little bit, maybe 20%, or maybe you're holding 70%, but you took something off the table on the initial burst. I think that's a trick in any market. Bank something and let the rest go. And then, of course, ultimately, you go 3 in, 3 out. Ultimately, you've got your system. Like, so the more money in the account, you could kick back and just trade very lightly and still make a ton of money because now your ratios are better. So you would actually start off very aggressive, and that's the whole point of having the leverage, right? This is for the guy that wants to start his business. He gets a loan and he buys gear he can't afford, obviously, right? This is how you build. So the little guy has kind of been crushed by the nanny state again, because they know better for you. Come along with us. And of course the Bitcoin, interesting that it is trading at the, it almost seems to me like the it's going to be the run to place if something happens bad on the weekend. And I'm not saying they're going to kill the president on the weekend, but what if they did? The gap opening in the euro dollar is going to be insanity, but you can see it coming probably on the Bitcoin. If there's some correlation, but there's just going to say, I don't say there's a correlation between Bitcoin and other markets, but if Bitcoin's going sideways, and I don't want anything bad to happen, but what if something bad happens? What in the fuck is going to happen? I mean, to me, it's the weirdest thing I've ever seen that the guy in the street could hold on his $100 cell phone, a currency that is real-time 24/7. I think Bitcoin might shut down for, depending who the broker is. I think somebody said they shut down for 5 minutes on Sunday or something. I don't know. But it's the most weird kind of calm before the storm, I guess. I don't know. Then maybe Bitcoin does go screaming up. I don't know. So if people ran to it because they said, you know what, final nail in the coffin. So I've been watching the digital currency shift, and that's been the most fascinating thing about trading, actually, is going into this digital domain of trading, because you're looking at digits and you got to get those digits into an account. And, you know, even if you're going to buy a stock, you got to find a broker, and then you got to you look at the stock, you're going to look at the dividends, you're going to look at your structure of how much money that is. So this one guy that was frustrated with the trading thing and walked away. It's always sad when somebody quits trading, I guess, because you're like, dude, really? Like, you're not going to turn gay on us, are you? But So, you know, he went to stocks. He's like, well, I'm just going to pick out some stocks and fuck this shit. I don't think he even said fuck this shit because I know these European guys, they can be pissed off and you'd never know it. They're like real quiet about it. And he wasn't like, fuck this shit. He wasn't like growling at the world. And he was like, yeah, I don't know. But he was taking a course diligently. And so it's pretty tough because, you know, nobody wants to go against the mainstream traditional things and step outside because, you know, the risk, right? So that's why you kind of have to do things on the lowdown, unfortunately, or do things as quietly as possible because there's, I guess, too much exposure to, well, you knew it's too good to last. And of course, this one guy who was talking about the, I can't remember his name, but he's this guy that says, has this famous video of like millions of views by now, how the, he tell you the deep secrets of this and that. And he starts off his video talking about, well, there's like a spread. And I'm like, yeah, your point is, it's like, dude, there's shipping and handling. Did you ever buy anything? Did you ever pay taxes on sales tax even? Yeah, this is how it is. So look at the spread here. So this is the guy's contention, the evil spread. Okay, so right now you're sitting flat at this double bottom. And interestingly, the spread is tight as hell right here at this double bottom in the 1 minute. And you're at that infamous point that you're always at, kind of like in Asia, it looks like to me, that's so dead, where it's like, oh, are we just going to whip down and then whip up, or are we going to crush down and just keep going? And that is when I started to short the British pound one day, and I'm like, okay, it's Asia, I'm going to short this pound, and I thought, I feel brave enough to sell something. And it was the British pound, and it kept going down. I thought, holy shit, then this thing really does tank hard. And it moves a lot bigger than, the pound moves a lot bigger than the euro dollar. It's a different league. The spread's twice as much typically, or it feels like it. And when it goes very wide. But this is amazingly tight here. I don't know, maybe there is brutal commissions on this. And also, when I had the demo running on here, they switched me into a different, and the chart went away. So I think they evolve chart, and maybe this is a different count. Maybe this is maybe the demo counts are different than the real counts here. But you can always go to Trader's Way. I guess it's a Dominican Republic. It's the only thing. Even the Europeans are going over there. But there's probably about 20 brokers, I'd say. Fixed pip, like if you live over in Europe, I don't know if you can still go to Accent Forex. That was a choice back then. Accent Forex, and I had Master Forex is in Russia, so I think you're good there. And you may think those are bad brokers, but they're still there. I can't trade there. They locked me out of that one, so it's just down to a handful. If you go on to the baby pips, there's a guy named Clint that discusses all that stuff. He gives you the rundown on that. Here we go. So here, oh, look at buyers came in there. Look at that double bottom held. Look at that. Right below those new lows. Wow, that was kind of white knuckle there. I was afraid it was going to tank. So that's kind of the fear that people have about the trading thing. If they're going to be right, going to be wrong. It's scary, you know, because you could be right. You could be right. You're like, I'm on a winning streak. But yeah, I wonder here. So they break that thing and then whip back, break this new high. Take out the last few minutes. Look how that thing flatlined. My God, man. Look at that number on Bitcoin. And what do you make of this number? It's almost like an index number. That's ridiculous, man. I got to put some Russian. These guys are Russian. The Chicago cover band. They're Ruskies. I used to in the old days. So, yeah, I used to trade futures, and it was started off at Chicago Board of Trade because it was the cheapest. It was like T-Mobile. And so I had a live feed on an FM signal, like a carrier signal on FM thing, signal, Lotus 123 box. And I had a 286 computer. And I had gone to classes and everything, and I'd also done I had a real-time feed, which cost me about $250 a month, about 160 a month or something. And then I had the $30 I could have the bond market. So the grains cost me like $50. It was weird. You'd pay for each market that you wanted real time. Now, the idea there was, it doesn't seem like a bad idea at the time, that was going to give you an edge, because you'd have real time. You'd be out of the crowd, as if. Right now, this is because I was trying to get the market like a true goober, so I'd pull on the trigger, and yeah, I got to find a couple decent Bitcoin brokers here. Yeah, I have to go crypto. I hate to say this, and it's just killing me because I just hate technology. I hate the fragileness of it. Just give me a goddamn baseball bat. Look at this sideways market in Bitcoin. I think I'm going to crush down here. That looks like a double top. So the price pulse was down. This is sideways. Trend continuation says go sell here on the Bitcoin. Just go short. And we'd be auto-tripped. If we have a sell stop there, we'll be auto-filled. So big question is, are you a confirmation entry guy, or are you a non-confirmation entry guy? Are you a stop entry guy, or are you limit entry guy? Are you at the market guy? So I'd say 3 types, and then you could even have market confirmation. So you got time confirmation, or you have price confirmation. So the market is going to trade through your ticket, or it's going to trade to your ticket in a limit situation. I'm always curious to see how people do that. So that's the kind of the letdown when you go through the YouTube people that are teaching trading. You never get to see really, like, well, how are they going to? Well, you do get to see people do it, but then you think, gosh, if that's true, then why not do this? And so when it criticizes anybody as they're trading, boy, the people that are big fans of that person, man, they just go nuts. So here we go. We just broke down. We just got filled on the sell side. Plus, we knew that was a trend continuation entry. If the last price pulse was down, goes sideways, we're either going to sell those little pullbacks there, the double top. And now we're up in the trade. Did we get out? Okay, I'm about to cash out of the whole thing. In the next 10 seconds, I'll get out of the whole thing. So it seems like a long time, especially if you sold a lot there. I think that's the only problem with trading, is that the bigger you trade, the little more nervous you might get. Even if you've already made money that day, because it's like Russian roulette. How many times can you keep nailing it? But I would say if you're an impatient person, the 1 minute chart is definitely the way to go. Okay, so I'm going to get out right now. Boom, I'm out. So I just went flat, and it might keep tanking. Or I could take off 70% of the position and let 30% go, and that would be a critical difference in your equity by the end of the day or the end of the month. Of course, what is your sample view of your trading career? And so, yeah, I started the futures, and people would say, oh, there's no spread, and it's no okay, that's great, but you're still having to come up with a hell of a lot more. Like I could only trade 2 contracts. I had $5,000 in my account, so I don't know what that leverage is. It was 5,000 bushels of corn, like $6 a bushel. So whatever that comes out to, controlling what, $30,000 of corn or soybeans with yes, not bad leverage. But I still had to have like I need $3,000 per. I know $1,500 I needed, but then they raised the margins. See, what they would do is the futures will actually adjust on the fly, where Forex is fixed across retail people. So some broker is saying 500 like for 10 years, But the True Exchange, since it has a clearinghouse, they couldn't do that, so they had to mail you out a monthly margin requirement, and they would up the margins, and then those markets would heat up and become very volatile. So they were adjusting in-house to protect their customers because the clearinghouse had risk, and so that's, you know. But you don't see that. The funny thing is when I saw Forex, I thought it was fake. Like, what? You may not just need $100 to open an account. Before, I need $100. I need just the commissions around turn on futures were like $45, and then so I figured I had to be really right about the trade. Plus, I was trading like live hogs and shit, and that was right around the time that Eddie Murphy was doing his pork belly trades, which can move limit up and limit down, so you can be stuck in the trade. Look at that breakout on that. 2 dojis, 2 1-minute dojis here on the. I'm kind of falling in love with Bitcoin all over again. I hope this isn't a high commission spread here. But yeah, I just don't like Bitcoin. I'm trying to warm up to it here. Certainly in the weekend for a trading junkie, it's definitely a key pacifier waiting for the markets to open. Well, this and the Eurodollar would keep you busy. I think between, and maybe there are correlations that you could, well, probably fantasize. The only problem with you do strategy testing or you do this, you can't play back the market in real time. Like I said, it would be cool if you could get say the market all week is going to trade next week. What if you could capture the data coming in and keep the, in other words, make it like a taped recording and then play back that tape into the computer again and play back the market. So I'm sure there's a way to do that. I don't know. I've put it out there a few times. Nobody bites on that one. Yeah, what you do here is you take a cassette deck and you hook that up to the USB port and you get about a 90-minute tape. We get a bunch of 90-minute tapes. And you have to flip the tape, don't forget, and you have to label them. And so what you do is you have somebody come over, probably some hot babe, and go, would you do me a favor? She'll go, what's that? You see that box of tapes? What I want you to do is see the clock over there. I want you to hurry up and have the next one queued. And it's going to take 2 tape machines because I have to overlap and make sure it's a seamless playback. And the nice thing about that is you could, actually, that might work, where you just do a 45-minute session. All the markets have been recorded into your server on a cassette deck. Is it possible to get the bits to translate? I'm just fantasizing. But, yeah, I was in Whale Pool. I had that running. And I registered and everything, and my head exploded because they had charts in there that were like, here's your chart of like, no, seriously, they're like, here's a chart called the Willie Getter or something. I don't know. And I'm like, really? I didn't even know that was a possibility. I didn't even know that you could chart like they had some, the classic candlesticks and stuff like that. But yeah, at least at that point, you could hedge your wallet. I suppose I'm kind of forced to be a manual trader, even though I'm kind of spoiled with the idea of one-click trading. I think that you can still one-click trading and nothing, but yeah, you can put pennies in there and just be like a pig about it. I suppose unfortunately, that's the problem with Bitcoin, is that if you have money in your bank account right now, it's not swinging around like crazy. Like when you go to the store, shit ain't changing price that big. If you own Bitcoin flat out, if everything you have is in Bitcoin, your whole trading account, holy shit, right? So if you're in this broker, supposedly you're coming out of this thing with, you're at the mercy of the fluctuation if your balance is based in Bitcoin, I'm assuming, right? Which would be kind of weird, Well, it's just too much. I feel like the charts over there at that whale time is like, what's it called? Whale pool. Is that you're just so overwhelmed. You just, you're like giddy. You can't wait to trade. I'm afraid I might overtrade in the beginning. It's kind of like going to the titty bar. Be like, well, I got some money. because I guess the dryness of MT4 is, I guess, I think keeps you a little disciplined. It's pretty dry. I can't do a 30-second chart in here, which I know you can do in these other brokers, which definitely, these other schemes, like if you go to NetDania, and that's another thing, you can open an account there, but unfortunately, I think it's FXCM or something like that. Here we go. So we're starting to engulf. Another low leverage broker. So I think we could take this floor out and totally blow out this thing. I think it's classic, fell in the hole, and they've trapped the bears, and I think they're going to go after these double tops here. So that would be our exit. That's presupposing we got in on this 2-minute breakout, and we added here another 2-minute breakout. So this 2-minute breakout thing, I definitely think you'd have to get out of something here, because if you believe that triple bottoms become a top in the future, then you need to get out. And so, like I said that many times, is I think it's obvious that you have to stick to your philosophy. If you believe that you got in because of X, then you should be getting out because of X, because if it's true, it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. But yeah, the Bitcoin thing, it's definitely going to. There's a lot of. We could be in wave 4. So if wave 3, if this, so Elliott theory, and Elliott theory is going to work here on the monthly. This is wave 3, obviously, and this is wave 4. Is there a wave 5, or is this literally? I guess. In other words, Elliott wave's not going to fit for another 10 years on this chart. You will not be able to make any sense of it. That means that this is so this is either wave 2 or wave 4. If this is wave 1, that means that Bitcoin could go insanely high. Unfortunately, you cannot scrunch this down, and that's probably, you have to go to the whale pool for that, to scrunch that chart down to see, oh yeah, if that's wave 1 and that's wave 2, then wave 3 is going to blow your brains out, and wave 4 will be a big consolidation. And you'd be dead by the time of wave 5 begins. So on a monthly chart, you'd have to say, Burt Reynolds didn't get to see the retracement of Bitcoin. Maybe that's what killed him. But you could also do the trend lines here, and this is very much looking like it looks like a copycat of gold, the enthusiasm on gold. It's definitely fascinating. I must say, it's a great time to be alive if you're into all this market shit. So, but you could, the Bitcoin is it's just too fascinating. It really is. The fact that it trades on the weekends, I guess, is the most amazing thing. So the price you're seeing there is kind of it's kind of gap free, and it's the monthly chart. So it's super, it's just unbelievably idealistic. It's just amazing. Like this, there's only one hammer entry here on this monthly. For God's sakes, 3 months up, screaming into an insane. Only a year ago. It's just, I still can't believe it. And what's really spooky is if you just zoom in to the weekly, and then you fix the scale here and just dramatize the current drama. So you go like this, and it's not going to let me do it, is it? Shit. Oh well. Yeah, you're going to have to go like this first, I think. You have to go like this. Yeah, so here's the 30-minute chart. Oh my God, look at this. Oh my God, Becky, look at this fucking crush. So, you'd have to, this rarely get a trade this good. The only other instance is this one here. That's insane sell-off. But yeah, look at all the void underneath this thing, stacking up pressure. The support just can't hold. And of course, even if you got in late at the break here, I guess you could say you're a genius. But this is where you'd have to keep on tightening up the trend line as it. You have to cordon off every swing low. And yeah, this is where you just kind of have to do the tighten up. Everything's coming to a wedge here. It's about as tight as you can kind of go. And of course the crossover is 1 degree tighter. So I learned this from the RSI guy. When this momentum dies out, what's RSI trader guy? Cardwell. You break out here and then you start to dilly-dally around that pivot. And it starts to unravel. And I know that people that hate trend lines don't like the fact that it keeps on getting tight and it just starts to drift away. And that's actually very accurate display of lack of volatility before it falls apart here. So it does a rollover there. And so there's the fractal of it all. But it keeps on chugging along here. So as it's folding over, of course now that's 30-minute chart. So maybe we go to the 1 hour chart. And then we starts to lose the, well, look at this thing. All comes to a crescendo here in this little tippy top triangle there. But we've seen that before. So back here, so when you fix the scale, it really gives you quite the insane view of price. I must say, fixing the scale to me is like the ultimate truth. Look at the volatility on this thing. You gotta be kidding me. I mean, this is like, how could you even, like, if you put up a chart like this for somebody, you're like, okay, dude, I'll trade Bitcoin a little bit here. But you look back on the weekly, you can't even, like, are you serious? Look at the monthly. Wait, the weekly. So the weekly, you're back to this price all over again? God, man, what's going to go on with this Bitcoin? So we're right at the abyss, really. I mean, all you have to do is trip into this here and start to fall apart. You take out this low, and this is where the panic would ensue, I suppose, if nobody comes in and buys this kind of like auction shit here. And the big buster is going to be this one, because this was the place to buy for the deep discount. When you tagged this wick, this was the ultimate kind of like stop hunt. And it even took out the, went one notch lower here, and then it ripped totally back to an amazing 8,500. It was unbelievable, right? So if that doesn't hold, and of course, then we have this issue. What if this doesn't hold? Which is also an insanely razor-sharp support area that actually, it touched that. It touched that window, and it's hard to conceive of these ratios. This is if you traded like at this edge, what is your ratio? 50 to 1, 100 to 1. What is that? You got in here, you stopped like super tight, and it went to where? You can't even see that entry. Then you've got this problem. What if you take out this one, which you never hit this? And if we're going after that right now, they're going to go hunt them stops. And like, so I was definitely start buying below all these prices. So I mark off all these, just put pendings in there over the whale pool. Go to the fucking whale time, and then look at this doji. This is all when the whole party started, which translates to this top in time here. This is incredible. This thing, if this thing can't hold these prices, then if nobody comes in here, what if nobody comes in? You know, first they came for the Jews, and then here, all these, right? Then they came for Alex Jones after the Jews. First, you have to invert that one. But for the love of Pete, man, what's going to happen? Oh my God, Becky, this is 26. This is 3,000. This is the big launching pad. Top, bottom on the monthly. It comes all the way back, only in the wick form. But you can see it on the daily as a real closing bottom there. So if you zoom out, now you're to try to find that structure there. So all these prices, and then, wow, you know, can it go all the way back to, it's going to be something else. So we're only living here right now on the weekend, I suppose. We're only going to be able to live here. If I go to the 1 minute chart, all of a sudden you're like, wow, like that, it's going to engulf. So this is what I was just saying a minute ago. I think it's going to take out that Double top on the 1 minute, which is way the fuck back here now. God damn, where is that? Right, is that it? No, I'm on the 5 minute chart, sorry. No, it's right here. The double top, right here. Twin Peaks, right here. So this was the double top. I said, oh, I think we're going to take that out. So now we found the hole. Sellers came in here. Like I said, you have to get out of something, and you did. So you got out of something here. And then they came down and blew out this thing, retested that doji, and now we're up again. So you gotta be really high frequency trader. And if you're holding long from this now, we're looking to engulf this and expect people to cash out on this Twin Peaks now. But yeah, it's fun. I really just kind of like, it's the brutality of managing another currency just to have an account now. As they come after everybody, you know. Right, and you've got that, right. You've got the euro versus the, and you got the euro versus the Bitcoin too, don't forget. So you could do all sorts of wonderful hedges, you know. Of course, it gets more complicated then, but, and I suppose the U.S. spread to the Bitcoin's probably tighter than the euro, maybe. Just as you step away from the majors, it just gets wider spreads. But yeah, or you could do correlations. You could actually trade a synthetic U.S. versus euro if you traded lockstep with a script that ran Bitcoin against euro, dollar against Bitcoin, you know, that thing. If it's set up like that, but it's not set up like that in the dollar versus yen, because the problem is with the Forex, it's not the yen versus the dollar, it's not the pound versus the dollar. It's the dollar versus the yen, dollar versus Swiss, dollar versus the, what's the other one? And that's the problem, you know. And you can't really get this kind of symmetric, you can't get this balanced view, you know. It's, the chart's upside down in a way. But yeah, this Bitcoin, what the hell, right? Well, so you definitely had a cash out here. If you're sticking to your guns, and if you stayed a little bit longer, you made some more money there. As you smash on that floor, you had to have your cash outs there. Now we dipped in a little bit. And I'd say if you're flat and you still want to go long, I wouldn't have a problem putting a buy limit on this last known top. Maybe 15 minutes on these, though. 1 minute chart, I'd run 15-minute scripts. There's a chance you could smash down to here, so I could have a buy limit here for 15 minutes. I got super wide stops. It's not inconceivable entry. Looks like you'll never get filled here. Here looks like a possibility. Let's go to the monthly. That's insane. I'm liking the 1 minute chart though. It's great if you like to trade a lot. Yeah, I guess I could see dicking around here for kicks. Old Bitcoin. So I finally came to this Bitcoin. Bitcoin on the weekends. Gosh. Yeah, the whale. The whale pool. Yeah, so the Deca. Are you over in Italy? Deca. It's like Swedish. Like Danish. Deca. What's Deca? Yeah, it's some kind of crazy market, isn't it? I mean, the Bitcoin is just what's going to happen here. And people are loaded into this thing. Who bought it? Who would admit to buying at 13,000? I mean, it is kind of tough. I'm sure it's a sore spot with some people. I never got involved in it. I definitely was laughing, though, when it was hit like 15. I said, and I shorted that. So I had a demo on this Evolved Markets like a year and a half ago, and I sold into it. And I kept placing stopless orders up there, way at the tippy top. And I said, oh my God. And I did a video where the market finally retraced to about $8,000. And I thought, I think I'm going to peel off these tickets today. So I sold all the way up into 18,000 on the demo. And it was kind of scary. Even though it was a demo, it was kind of scary because, I decided to make a video of it. And I thought, God, what are people going to think if I blow this account up? Of course, I never really worried about that because it's fake money. But it is funny how people would judge your trading like you're going into, basically, it'd be like if you shorted gold at 1,000 and you blew up your account, nobody would think that was the right thing to do at the time. Or even if you sold gold at 1,500, people would say this is best, brilliant. But I sold silver with a real account at $50. I sold at 45 all the way up to $49. And on Sunday night, it opened down like I was in profits. And for the next 5 days, it went down to, I think it went sheer down for 8 days all the way back to 30, back to like $20 or something crazy, $25 or something crazy like that. And so but I wish I would have been bigger on that trade. That was insane. I mean, but yeah, watching. Isn't there gold versus Bitcoin out there? I'm sure if you go to the Whale Club, whatever it is, Whale Fest. I know we've got the whole panacea here. I don't really have a good Bitcoin template though. It's traded so vicious. Like if I put the pip grid up on it, I have to move the decimal point quite a bit here. There's a straight out tick chart. I show all symbols here. I'm sure it's in here. Of course, this color scheme just sucks. And the problem with MetaTrader on Windows 8, it doesn't respond to color changes very well. Like I got the wrong, I literally have to click on each one to see the symbol. So here's your Litecoin versus Bitcoin. Probably be a god-awful spread here, though. I gotta believe. So this thing's just all down in the doldrums. It reminds me of a penny stock, actually. Look at this thing. It looks like a penny stock. What could you possibly make of this chart? For love of Pete, what the fuck's going on there? It reminds me of Swiss franc where they peg it and they unpeg it. Look at these moves. Man, it's just true penny stock territory there. Looks like it's itching for a pop. It could just keep melting down though. It looks like it's been known to go into these drifts. This is probably the biggest pent up drift down. And then that thing explodes and then the wheels come off it. Boy, when they take it back up to here, people go nuts over it. I suppose the only good sell trade out here is to sell this, sell up into this fresh. This looks like a good, I guess you have leverage from price, right? So I guess I'm not thinking, it's like a stock. It's like a penny stock. If you're at this price now, what do you make it to 24 cents? Is that? I don't even know what that is. Is this really like, did we really lose this much value? Oh, this is the spread. I'm sorry. Litecoin versus Bitcoin. What the fuck? So this is, the spread is cheaper, right? So it's like the Forex of Bitcoin, right? In essence. Am I to believe that? What's up? Is this Alex Minakov? Are you Russian? I got some great Russian rock and roll, jazz rock. I can't believe there was even a band, Chicago, with his brass section. I mean, just unbelievable band. It's just like I guess you could make the assumption here that there's a top here, that it's the bottom. We're right there right now. We're right there at this pivot. So Bitcoin, Litecoin versus Bitcoin. And we've got, what is this? Yen versus Bitcoin. Interesting. So I guess this is what you have to do if you're trading Bitcoin. Apparently, I don't know what the leverage is. Pretty low here, though. Isn't it? I don't know what the Whale Club higher, maybe. Ukraine, yeah. So, are you into the band Chicago? from the United States, Chicago Transit Authority. You probably already heard them. Litecoin. Okay, so I get my brain around this. It's $50 a coin, right? Doesn't this seem like a rational? Isn't this like the B stock of Berkshire Hathaway here? Wouldn't you say? If I just choose to bet the ranch here, and this is the that's a nice low. I mean, if it's a penny stock, I'm into it. In fact, it looks like it could go lower. Look at this bitch. Holy Jesus. Actually, this had its party back here. Now, this is, I guess, what people are hoping for Bitcoin is that what you just saw last year is this phase of Bitcoin. And then at some point, it's going to consolidate and it's really going to take off. That's mind-blowing. I mean, it had its heyday back here. This is quite astounding move, and that's quite a long time frame, isn't it? That goes back... so this is, I think, a bigger percentage move, maybe, this climax here, compared to Bitcoin. That's crazy shit. What else we got here? We've got the... God, Bitcoin, what the fuck? Well, at least it's something to do on the weekend, I suppose. Tried to... you're going to have to add 2 zeros at least to your order and the way you set this up. But, holy God, look at this thing fall out of bed. Oof. The yen's pretty strong. Well, that's pretty catastrophic. That probably was in the news on something. Right? That's newsworthy. Of course, this one's pretty newsworthy. In fact, this thing can really move. Yen versus Bitcoin. Wow. There you go. I'd say that's the most vicious currency. I'm looking at this as vicious. Dollar yen does not look this nasty, does it? Of course, the same story here would be in the dollar versus the yen. I mean, dollar versus Bitcoin. This is the whole. Bitcoin versus euro. Same story, I got to believe, right? Or did I put that up? Same story here, I think, as far as the whole existing beneath. So they're all on the same page here. I guess that's the best thing you can say about Bitcoin is that it is Bitcoin. Interesting here. It is okay. So yeah, Bitcoin versus euro, and Bitcoin versus yen. So that's unique. You don't have that in Forex. In Forex, you have the euro leading the instrument. So here you have correlation because you can run these charts stacked and you can make sense of it. And you actually, I guess you're technically viewing the naked currency kind of, well, you know, Forex is a problem there to me. Here you compare apples to apples. You don't really get that chance in Forex. Yeah, because you have here you have a central currency, Bitcoin, or you have a one thing. Because yeah, you flip that dominant thing. Because this is the problem with the pound. It's not the dollar to the pound. It's not the dollar to the yen. It's not the dollar to the. So that could be the only advantage here. So you can make sense out of the discrepancy in price. And what else we got here? I guess if you go crazy in these whale tank, you can get probably, you know, Bitcoin to oil or something. So you just have oil, and here is the inversion. So here's the dollar bit, which I don't understand this one either, I suppose, because I think this is a later addition to the scam. It's a scam what they're doing. Oh, look at this, a little spiky. Maybe that's bad data. That looks vicious. I put an AUI on your account. This looks like it's maybe too volatile for people. God, that's vicious, isn't it? What's the 1 minute chart look like? So is this thing trading right now? Looks like low liquidity, a lot of dojis. It's just a doji minefield. Man, look how thin they slice these dojis. For the Lord of Pete. Good God Almighty, son, I don't trade that Bitcoin. It's just too volatile. What are you thinking? So here they did it, just like I knew they would. That was the exit and the place to go the other way. For these many bits. At least you could say bits instead of pips. I mean, you wouldn't wear your lips out so bad. So I should probably put up a, you could have this just dedicated. That's another reason why you run a demo, is that you have a demo that's just pure Bitcoins. And you don't have to trade on it. If you had a real Bitcoin wallet, you can use it for your, see the landscape of, you're like, holy shit. Because I used to call my dad and say, have you seen that stock that you're in? He'd like, oh my God, get out. This broker would never call him when the market was spiking, but I was watching the shit all the time. So I was really into the, yeah, I really wish I could have been a, well, I mean, I guess I wish I could have been like people wish they could be, you know, the guy that just shows up and makes decisions. Unfortunately, to have a lot of leverage in the beginning, you would need a lot of leverage. So that's why the penny stock is a great idea, because, or futures or Forex, because then you could have the penny stock. My God, I mean, these things are going for 0.001 cents, then it goes to 50 cents, and you just cleaned up. And you could make money, but not on, you know, like it looks like this chart here, where if you didn't get, well, the get was good, you just didn't make any money, you know. A roller coaster. Is there silver to Bitcoins? Yeah, no, how about the triage? Yeah, how about the, I think it is silver to Bitcoins. Probably is some broker. Or how about a silver to gold spread? I'm sure there's, isn't there in the futures market, there used to be, when they used to yell at each other over there, you used to have that stuff. You had, you go long November gold and you go short December gold. And because the gold, if you go to the futures market, gold's probably trading above what it's at. People anticipating it's going to cost more in the future. And that was another problem with futures trading, where Forex kind of kicked its ass, is that the data on Forex is continuous data, where I used to have to pay $50 a month to have somebody mail me a floppy disk with data on it for the month, where they compiled every futures contract, and you had 3 styles of rollover that you could pick. You could pick greatest volume rollover. You could pick literally the end of contract, last trading day rollover. So you can only imagine the blistering of your brain, because you'd say, well, what's the best? I'm presupposing you want to be really good at what you do. So you're like, you go buy a guitar. What's the best guitar to buy? Well, I guess the one that is tuned up and will hold key. So what's the best rollover to trade? Well, I always picked the highest volume, because I figured, well, it's the smoothest looking data. It's like a Renko chart. But I guess if the last trade, and of course, the liquidity is so dry by the time that the futures, nobody wants to be in that thing. In other words, few people are going to take delivery in the actual contracts, so what's the point? People got to get the fuck out. There's only so much people to take. And it's so funny to watch these people talk about the gold market. Like, they'd say, well, that's all those CDFs are just not, there's not enough. The funniest thing I've ever heard in my life is there's not enough gold in the world to support all those contracts. Well, no shit, dumb fuck. There's some guy taking the other side of the trade, which is giving you higher volume. In other words, if everybody's tugging at the same price, there's some guy taking the other side of that trade. He's providing liquidity. He's providing the other side of the trade. Are you kidding me? It's like flat Earth people. I mean, to hear the gold guys talk, they're manipulating the market. Dude, you're manipulating it. In other words, the crowd's moving it. Are you serious? Going to tell me? So it's just hysterical, right? Yeah, I don't know why people get that stuff. But I guess people want to say there's a bad guy or the man's keeping me down. My broker's keeping me down. Yeah. So we got filled in this buy limit here. I think I would have scalped out of something there on that initial bounce. But yeah, you could trade like this all weekend. It's probably going to get crazy when you go into... so I bet the opening of... Since Bitcoin, I can't believe it's trading at this goddamn Chicago Mercantile Exchange. We're all the way back to that now. Well, full circle. Full circle all the way back to the... so yeah, I don't know. But I should put on this tune by this Russian band. I'm not sick of them yet. I'm just not sick of these guys yet.
Searching for something to say. Flashing lights against the sky. Giving up, I close my eyes. Sitting cross-legged on the floor.
Vladimir. Can you get a hold? Can you get? Can Alex Minoff hook me up with this band? I want to sit in, just play one note, just squeeze in a note there, edgewise. These guys. Yeah, so it's quite the roller coaster there on that. Hasn't much data here. I'm missing a chunk. Looks like this one's the first one to fall apart, though. This looks like it's making a run for the hole, run for the border. I got a bad, here you go. But this thing's just caving in, isn't it? Man, that thing's ready to just go nuts. So that's just quite a clobbering, I suppose, right? 1400. Wow. That's a good, I guess this is the best thing to buy right now, it looks like. This is leading the crush. I mean, that just made a new low. It's definitely leading the sell-off, right? Everybody's the leading indicator of Bitcoin's about to go to hell. Because this is going at 205. Oh, yeah, give me about a tenth of that. So I'd buy a tenth of that, and then if I could, then I don't know if I have to buy a whole coin, but then I would just put in limits all the way to, say, $40. I'd buy it. That seems low risk to me. I suppose you could get clobbered and this goes to zero, but it won't go to negative. So you know your risk coming into this, right? I think you could have had a problem if you thought that this top was going to become a bottom forever. Like it was, this top became a bottom. And this is when Bitcoin went through that phase. This is a classic. If you think that's wave 3 and this is wave 1, wave 2, and this is supposed to keep going up, I think this is where you got annihilated there. If you are a breakout artist, you definitely are currently short here, and you're lobbing it because you only got filled on the south side, and you only got in because there's low volatility there. Here, the breakout artist got in here, so. But there's only 2 trades on there for volatility breakouts because the market never calmed down. And I guess you could say now it's dripping and market's dripped down like this and just going to keep on chunking down here. And it looks low risk to me. Like I'd say I could plan the next, I would just play, what I would do is just put limits in, open up one of these whale teams and put limits in down all the way deep and let them sit and let them bake and let them get filled. I don't think you can go wrong with that. What is silver doing? I didn't even look. Silver should be next to gold inside my thing. Right down at the bottom now. Okay. Copper. Natural gas. I haven't looked at that in a long time. So I never traded it because of the margin's too steep. It's only for the big boys. There's nothing if it's a really erratic currency, a real erratic instrument. Margins just look at this thing. Back in the heyday, so there was a time when crude oil was going nuts. Look at this thing. Look at this natural gas. Really, really went ballistic, and now it's just all cheap as hell. That's America's cash crop is natural gas. This thing's getting clobbered, isn't it? They're using this stuff to fuel stuff too. Okay, I don't know. Fucking A. God, platinum, is that cheap? God, I can't believe platinum's cheaper than gold. Just never thought I would have seen that in my lifetime. Fucking palladium's higher. How can platinum be so cheap? That was the king of markets. What the fuck happened? I have no idea. Yeah, Jesus. Didn't cut off my... Yeesh. Huh. So, I don't know. This is always a good one.
Anyhow, it's just that the thought of us so happy appears in my mind as a beautifully mysterious thing. Was your image in my mind so deeply? Other places fade away, blocking memories of unhappy hours. Living just to burn in love. I'd like to know, can you tell me? Please don't tell me. It really doesn't matter anyhow. It's just that the thought of us so happy appears in my mind as a beautifully mysterious thing. Yes, it does now, baby. Doesn't matter anyhow. It's just that the thought of us so happy appears in my mind as a beautifully mysterious thing. Yes, it does now, baby. Question 67 and 68.
That's hysterical. I never knew the name of that song was Questions 67 and 68. That is fucking insane. So, look at this spike down. Beautiful, huh? So if you're clever enough to sell right there, and that trap, and this is that, this is a 5-minute chart, so you can't see that double top, but that double top contention was right here. So you're short there, and then you become a buyer on, as soon as we fall in that hole. So it's always trading against the, I was always thinking reversal entry is the best. These birds are stalking me because it's cold out. So it finally cooled off outside, so the birds are outside my window calling out my name. I think they're trying to manipulate me to go to the store and buy them food, which I feel bad about, just disturbing the web of life. But if they play a good song, in other words, if they sing the right song, I will buy them food. So I feel like it's a like sound hookers. Gonna pay them for them to perform. So yes, what else? Yeah, if it's not, oh, Tom Jones, yeah. God, love Tom Jones. People do Tom Jones covers. I'm sure there's a Tom Jones cover. Covers, it's funny, I haven't triggered the robots, although when this thing goes into processing the stream, that's when we might run into problems. And they'll sniff it out and go, wait a minute, that's on Spotify. So what the fuck, right? I think Tom Jones, I never knew he's British till one day he opened his mouth. It's not unusual cover. So I think this is the new thing to crack the robots, is doing covers. I don't think this guy's got a 2-minute version of it. I don't think this is copyrighted. Well, we'll find out. Okay, just a moment. A little bit of, wow, careful. This is a little too fast for me. I'm sorry. I don't know if I'm like that. I like to be, if it's a really my favorite song, I like it a little slower so I can enjoy it.
It's not unusual to be loved by anyone.
Although he nails the inflections that Tom would give, and I guess that's what it's about.
It's not unusual to have fun with anyone.
He's got a little bit too much honk in his voice, don't you think, though? Of course, when Tom was young, I bet he had a lot of honk with it. They're throwing panties at him and shit. Well, not them, girls.
When I see you hanging about with anyone, it's not unusual to see me cry. I wanna die. It's not unusual to go out at any time. When I see you out and about, it's such a crime.
This is the whitest guy you've ever seen perform. I mean, he's actually redhead. This guy's getting a sunburn in the studio. That's how white this guy's.
It's not unusual. It happens every day. No matter what you say, you'll find it happens all the time. Love will never do what you want to do. Why can't his crazy love be mine?
He threw the robots off with that line. So he drifted off script there a little bit.
It's not unusual to be mad with anyone. It's not unusual to be sad with anyone. But if I ever find that you've changed at any time, it's not unusual. My man, I'm in love with you. Oh, 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 oh.
It takes some. It's work being Tom Jones. That's a lot of work. Damn, he's kicking. He's out of control with that. It's a little too fast, though, don't you think? Oh, here's a guy with a beard. This has got to be the slow version. Wow, two bearded, look like Hasidic Jews. There's no way they'll copyright infringe me for this shit.
It's not unusual to be loved by anyone. It's not unusual to have fun with anyone.
Oh, sweet. This guy's got acoustic, and the other guy, I think he's with himself, but he's got a really sweet humbucker Strat. And the
I see you hanging about with anyone. It's not unusual to see me cry. I wanna die. It's not unusual to go out at any time. But when I see you out and about, it's such a crime. If you ever wanna be loved by anyone, it's not unusual, it happens every day. No matter what you say, you'll find it happens all the time. Love will never do what you wanted to. Why can't this crazy love be mine? It's not unusual to be mad with anyone. It's not unusual to be sad with anyone. But if I ever find that you changed at any time, it's not unusual to find that I'm in love with you. Oh, 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 oh. It's not unusual to be mad with anyone. It's not unusual to be sad with anyone. But if I ever find that you changed at any time, it's not unusual to find that I'm in love with you. Oh, 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 oh,
well, there we go. That's a little dry. Huh. Well, it doesn't look like anybody's covered that song. Oof. These guys do a pretty good job.
It's called Vehicle Baby. 1, 2. Stranger in a black sedan, I want you hop inside my car. I got pins, got candy, I'm a lovable man, and I can take you to the nearest car. I'm your vehicle, baby. I'll take you anywhere you wanna go. I'm your vehicle, woman, but I'm not sure that you know that I love you, I need you, I want you, got to have your child. Great God in heaven, you know I love you. You want to be a movie star, get your ticket out to Hollywood. But if you want to stay just the way you are, you know I think you really should. I'm your vehicle, woman. I'll take you anywhere you want to go. I'm your vehicle, baby. When I got you, let you know that I love you. Great God in heaven, you know that I love you. Yeah.
I hate to say this, but I'm kind of disappointed. You know, my guys have been going since about 7 o'clock this morning doing radio and dealing with the UN and everything, and that's the best New York's got to offer for their hometown boys. Are you guys ready for some Cactus Rock? Make some noise!
Come on, Jim. That's better.
Put me here on the other side. Four, Cactus. After what? After, one more.
Have a good show.
down. It's a figure inside you, mama. All you need is just faith.
Okay, so got a little vanilla fudge here to close out.
Set me free, why don't you, baby? Get out my life, why don't you, baby? You really don't want me, you just keep me hanging on. Now you really don't need me, you just keep me hanging on. Why do you keep coming around, playing with my heart? Why don't you get out of my life and let me try to make a new start? Let me get over you the way you've gotten over me. Why not? Set me free, why don't you, baby? Get out my life, why don't you now? You really don't want me, you just keep me hanging on. You really don't need me, what do? You keep me hanging on. Now you said when we broke up,
We thank you so much.
Get out! Oh, suck it to me now.